Hello everyone. Wanted to do a video before I forgot the subject. You know how it is when you get old, these things happen. Was asked today with someone who watched one of my videos from work, a good friend of mine, and I'm not going to cover the whole conversation, but there's 2 points he made. First of all, when you quote are on a journey of truth, first of all, how do you recognize that you're in truth? In other words, how do you know you found the truth? How do you know, as you're jumping and you're seeing different things and everything like that, how do you know you find the truth? And another thing we talked about was jumping around, finding truth, going to something else, going to something else, going to something else. We talked about that also, but the first thing I want to cover is this. Truth is a complication because we made so much light out of it. We've made it so a common word and stuff of that nature. And what's truth to me may not be truth to you. In other words, even in life, chocolate milk don't work well with me. I love it, but chocolate milk may work. So the truth for me is not the truth for you. You drink chocolate milk, it's good for you. Chocolate milk's not good for me. But there are common things that are definitely true. There's constants that we need to talk about, like in seeking the Creator, whatever that may be, of understanding. And understanding that I don't think we can do this in one lifetime. And I know, here he goes with the reincarnation and the migration of souls and stuff like that. All right, for instance, this. 20 years ago, I was convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt and said I would never deny Christianity. I would never deny the truths that I had learned there. Never. And my friend said the same thing today, and I didn't respond to it because I had said the same thing. I was a pastor. I was big in the church. Believed full-heartedly that it was truth. Well, the journey was an interesting journey because what I started doing was even 40 years ago, a good friend of mine, family, took me up to gave me some notes to start looking up. So I actually, like I said before, I went up to the Catholic library. We have a college down in Mobile, and I went down there and started researching, and he was showing me stuff about how he felt like his denomination was truer than the denomination I was in. And sure enough, I started finding things within the Catholic's own writing, within their history, the Catholic Encyclopedia, if you want to know the truth. Volume 1, 2, and 3, I started seeing things of how things were changed and justified, changed and justified, and changed and justified. And that actually started my search. And then I met another one of those preachers, and they're apostolic, if you want to understand what I'm talking about. And he started opening my eyes to some of the truths about, some of the holidays of Christianity and stuff, and all of this stuff. And I started researching and seeing. And once you see the truth, you can never turn back. Now, let me say this. Don't tell me that you've done real research. If you're going to study the roots of Christianity, yet you're going to use Lee Strobel or some Christian material to find the truth, don't do that, because that's like studying the Democrat Party using just Republican things. You're not going to find the truth. You're going to find bias. Don't tell me to study Judaism and only read the Jewish sources. You've got to include scholars in there somewhere. You've got to understand, if there's not an objection, there's something wrong. So the history, if you're studying it, and let's say, for instance, Jesus, and no reason why, I'm just throwing this out there. If you study Jesus and you don't see anywhere in your studies that truly there's no historical evidence of this man living outside of the Gospels, and a few Roman writers hundreds of years later, and Josephus has been very much controversial of whether it's a true source or not. So now I'm not arguing whether Jesus lived or not. I think he did. So please don't stone me on this. So don't tell me you're doing honest research if you're using your own sources within your religion to study, because that is not fair. And it really is just going to lead you on to where you are. Now, I wouldn't really recommend going to atheist sites, because that's a Pandora box that can totally lead you completely out of religion altogether. So be careful with that. Unless that's your journey, that's what you need to do. Now, second thing is this. As far as our families, I was in the church because that's where I needed to be raising my girls. That's where I needed to be. That's the place that the Creator felt that I should be in to raise my two daughters. Now, did it help? Not really, because none of my kids live for God or have any kind of relationship within that matter. Within neither one of them, I don't think really care. Now, the seed is planted, but really I don't think they care. And then within that journey, I found Judaism when I found out I had Jewish blood, and switched. And when I switched, it just destroyed my first family. It totally destroyed. But I had to be on that journey. I had to. Now I'm raising my 12-year-old and 3-year-old grandchildren in Judaism, but in a liberal form of Judaism, not an orthodox form whatsoever, because I want them to be able to ask questions. I want them to be able to seek sources, and I'm not looking to put them in dogma. I'm looking them to start their journey where they need to be. So their foundation is, we do Sabbath and the holidays, and they learn, that's what they learn. Not liberal in the fact of the way I see things, but really I give them the ability to grow and learn. Now, I wish, looking back, that I was in a strict community maybe, but at the same time, I know the Creator's got me where I'm at now to seek. So what I'm doing is I'm raising my children in the box of Judaism to have a foundation. I believe a foundation is important. My friend is in Christianity, and that's exactly where he needs to be right now with his kids, his wife. That's where they need to be. But as he gets older and I get older and stuff like that, the Creator does not get mad if we ask questions. He does not get mad or offended if we ask things about the afterlife. And you really have to truly study, because most of the time you're going to find out that everything that we believe is in question. We don't know anything. We don't know anything about the afterlife. Don't care what anybody says. We don't know anything about reincarnation. We don't know anything about if the biblical characters are true, whether Moses was a true person, whether any of these people. We don't know if these stories are allegories. We don't know if these stories are examples to teach us, because I can go back to the book of Enki and show you a lot of things that come down through different different stories. So what I'm trying to say is your faith and your belief cannot be proven. I don't care what you are, because we just don't know. We don't know. We don't have the history. Hell, we don't have the correct history of people that lived 200 years ago. We have bits and pieces. So imagine going back 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. And this conversation we're having now is not to discourage you to find atheism or anything like that. I'm just preparing you, because this journey breaks everything that you held on to so strongly. Because I was that person that said, I will never denounce this. And I had to come to a point where I saw the evidence that I had to make a real conscious, Gnostic, knowledgeable decision that this is just not correct. Now, I have nothing against, if you're a Christian, I hope you're the best Christian and you make this world a better place where you live. If you're a Jew, be the best Jew you can be. If you're a Gnostic, be the best Gnostic and change this world. Whatever ethically makes you better, I am for. But that's not what it's about. This is a journey. If you read the stories of Abraham, the myth of Abraham, or stories or whatever, it was a journey. The story of Isaac, the story of Enoch, all of these people, we're reading their journey, and you are on a journey too. And maybe, just maybe in this lifetime, this is exactly what you need to be doing. But there's going to come to a point that you're going to have to ask some serious questions. And I'm not just talking to Christians, I'm talking to everybody, of what you truly believe. Are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to others? Or are you just where you need to be at the time? And I believe that's the way God is. I believe God puts us in places that we need to be to raise our families, to raise people for a foundation. But that doesn't stop the journey that we need to be on. So we may say, I will never denounce Judaism. The Torah is 100% true. And when you start seeing cracks, you start spiritually making it right. I know people that get totally offended when I say that the Creator God may not be the one Creator. It may be one of the Elohim, that did that. Oh, I know where scholars are going with this. No. And another thing, if you're in a conversation like we're having right now, or you're talking to people and you get, you mess up, or you're misunderstood, or you're mad because your point's not coming across, be mature enough to say, guys, I may have messed up, or I may have been misunderstood. I may not be wrong altogether, or there may be more than one circumstance for this answer. Don't run off and get mad and don't turn everybody off, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. I have been done wrong. I have been shit on. I have never had a real mentor, because no one has felt that I was worthy enough in life, except my daddy. But I'm talking about spiritual mentors have never put any value into me. So I understand rejection. I understand it's just easier to stay in the box. It's just easier to stay in your religion than to grow. And sometimes I am like the guy in the Matrix who wants to just go back into the Matrix and just go back into it and just forget all of this. The pain's real. There's a few people that really can handle this journey. Just a few. But if you're watching this channel, you're probably one of them for sure. So, in saying that, you are where you're at because that's where you need to be. But there's going to come a time in your life where you're going to have to answer some questions to yourself, to be intellectually honest to yourself. So, that's my rant. We love you. Like I said, I'm not a teacher or a preacher or trying to lead you anywhere. I'm expressing my thoughts to you. So, continue your journey. If you're at where you're at, be the best at whatever you are. Christian, Jew, Hindu, I don't care what you are. But be honest. And that's all I'm asking. So, have a great day. Thank you from dreary looking Georgia.